If you want to know what makes a good workout routine, then this video is for you, because here's what you can expect to learn in this video. First, we'll address 4 mistakes that people make when looking for a good workout routine. So here, you learn what not to do, because it's very possible that you may actually be making one or more of these mistakes. And in the second part of this video, I'll give you 4 specific criteria to figure out what is a good routine versus what is a bad routine. Before we jump in, who am I? My name is Igor. I'm the author of 13 books on exercise and nutrition, including 4 Amazon bestsellers. As well, I've been a personal trainer since 2006 and presenting at some of the world's largest personal training conferences since 2013, teaching other personal trainers in my methodology. And I've delivered over 400 wellness presentations to some of Canada's largest corporations, including IBM, Bosch, American Express, University of Toronto, Investors Group, and others. If you want to learn when I publish more videos about evidence-based exercise, nutrition, and supplementation, click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So let's talk about the most common mistakes that people make when looking for a good workout routine. One common mistake is that they want something difficult. Why? Because of the mistaken assumption that difficult means effective. This is wrong. Difficult does not mean effective. Difficulty takes no finesse, takes no thought, and it's very, very easy to do something difficult. For example, take a 6-year-old and ask them to pick a number between 50 and 100. That's the number of push-ups you're going to do. That's not very difficult. 100 push-ups is difficult, but it might not get you to your goal. So difficult does not mean effective. The goal is not difficulty. The goal is effectiveness. The goal is progress. We shouldn't chase difficulty for the sake of difficulty. If something is difficult, it should be for the sake of progress. In other words, difficulty should be the side effect of effective training. It shouldn't be the goal of effective training, okay? It's a change in mindset between chasing progress and chasing difficulty. Difficulty does not always equate with progress. And progress does not always have to be difficult, although sometimes it is. If it happens as a side effect, great. If it doesn't happen and you still make progress, fine. But progress is the name of the game. That's one mistake. The second mistake is that it's the opposite, is that it's easy. And again, that's also a mistake. Why is that a mistake? Because you have to cross a certain threshold of what it takes to make progress. If you're below the threshold, you're spending time, you're spending energy, maybe you're spending money, but you're not getting any closer to your goals. So the goals are not easy or difficult. The goal is challenging. It shouldn't be so easy that you don't cross the threshold of what it takes to make progress, but it shouldn't be so difficult that you start risking burnout and injury. So challenging is the goal. Next common mistake is that a famous person does that routine. Here is why that's wrong on so many levels. First of all, you don't know that. Just because a video said it or just because an article said it doesn't mean the famous person actually does that routine. That's mistake number 1 in thinking. Mistake number 2 in thinking is that maybe they're doing that routine now, but is that the routine that got them to where they are now? Maybe they were on a bunch of different routines before that. Third of all, maybe they're on drugs and maybe they got surgery. And a bunch of other factors that make you question how connected is that routine to that person. Unless you're with that person 24/7 for years, you don't know what kind of routine they're on, if they're getting drugs or surgery or Photoshop or whatnot. So don't do a routine just because a famous person does it. Furthermore, even if that famous person actually does it, that routine works for them. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So that's another common mistake. And yet another mistake, a giant one, is that ChatGPT generated that exercise program. The reason that that's a mistake is because the way that ChatGPT generates its responses is by scouring the web and giving you the best possible answer. The problem with that is that if the vast majority of routines on the internet are complete garbage, you're going to get a garbage routine. So that's another mistake. Now that you know what not to do, let's talk about what to do. What are the 4 criteria of what makes a good workout routine? One criterion is that it's effective. This is a no-brainer because you're exercising for a reason. Maybe it's just to feel good. Maybe it's to lose weight. Maybe it's to gain muscle. Maybe it's to decrease back pain or something else. So the question is it getting you closer to your goal? which means that you need to have a goal, and that goal needs to be measurable. You can't just say, I want to get fit. What does getting fit mean to you? Does it mean lower body fat, higher muscle mass, lower blood pressure, lower blood sugar, higher bone density, etc.? So you have to measure it. That's one criterion. And so how can you measure the effectiveness of a workout program? And the way to do it as simply is, did you make progress? And there are different ways of measuring progress within a workout. In the short term, you can increase the weight, you can increase the repetitions, you can increase the sets, you can increase the range of motion of an exercise, you can shorten the rest periods between sets or exercises, and a bunch of others. This is in the short term. In the workout to workout basis, did you make progress? On a long-term basis, did you lose body fat? Did you gain muscle? Did you improve your bone density, or whatever your goal is? That is measurable. Okay. Another part of effectiveness is it evidence-based? Is there scientific evidence linking the methods to your desired results? Not just somebody said that, not just a famous person said it, but scientific evidence in medical journals. If yes, awesome. If no, then either there's evidence to the contrary saying that method doesn't result in your desired outcome, or there's no evidence whatsoever. Okay, in which case you're just taking a gamble. Maybe it's going to work, or maybe it won't work. Another criterion is it safe? And I divide safety into both the short term and the long term. Short term we'll talk about right now. Long term we'll talk about that in a second. In the short term, do you have good technique? Bottom line, is it preventing you from getting injured right away? In the long term, does your exercise routine prevent muscular imbalances and overuse injuries? And that's more about balancing different muscle groups. In other words, balancing biceps and triceps, balancing quadriceps and hamstrings, etc. Not doing too much for one part of the body and ignoring other parts of the body. And so that's safety in both the short term and the long term. Another part of safety is, does it keep in mind your current injuries? In other words, if you have a knee issue, whether that's arthritis, patellofemoral syndrome, ACL or MCL issues, meniscus issues, and so on, lower back pain, whether that's degenerative disc disease, spinal arthritis, spondylosis, and others. Does it also keep in mind your current health conditions? Do you have high blood pressure? In which case, you shouldn't lift weights that are too heavy or come too close to muscular failure. Do you have high blood sugar? Is there a risk of your blood sugar dipping too low during a workout? These are all parts of safety. Another criterion, the third one, is it sustainable? Are you actually enjoying your routine? And if you're not enjoying it, at least you see yourself doing it in the long term. In other words, can you get to a point where it's as automatic as brushing your teeth? You might not like brushing your teeth, but you do it anyways. I assume you do anyways. And lastly, it has to be personal to you. That's the last criterion. And that means, is it personal to your goals? Again, what are your goals in a measurable way? Personal to your abilities. Is it asking you to lift weights that you can't lift? To your injuries, to your health conditions, to your medications, to your preferences. What do you enjoy and what do you not like? And then what can you do with all this information? Well, option one, you can continue to do your own research and create your own exercise routine based on all these criteria. To help you with that, I recorded a very similar video to this about not just what makes a good workout, but more narrowly about what makes a good exercise. And you'll see 6 criteria for what makes the perfect exercise for you. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is you can get one of my team members to design an exercise program for you and hand you everything on a silver platter. If that's the option you want to choose, feel free to go to my website, which is www.fitnesssolutionsplus.ca, which is also in the description below. And what you'll see there is an application form for a free 10 to 15-minute phone call or Zoom call. This is a no pressure, no sales pitch call to make sure that we can help you with your goals. And again, if that's the option you want, click on the link in the description below, or go to www.fitnesssolutionsplus.ca.